Happy weekend, brunchers. I am Bailey Minogue, and this is Too Much for Brunch. This weekend's topic. I'm a very big Doctor Who fan. I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the site, really, but it's one of my favorite shows. I generally like any TV show that's really British. It's a thing that I have. I like the accents, I like the culture. You can see I'm wearing a Doctor Who shirt, which is what originally made me want to shoot the video today. But if you have ever paid attention to my backdrop, you can see I have one TARDIS over in the corner with my video games, and I also have a TARDIS nightlight, and it's never been on camera, but my cell phone, I have an iPhone with a TARDIS phone case. I usually try to stay out of conversations as far as which Doctor is the best, but I figured, what the hell? Let's just start with Capaldi. Today, actually, will be the beginning of Series 9. He will be returning as the Doctor. I actually enjoy the fact that he's kind of an asshole. I like how cold he is, and I like how straightforward he is. One of the things I really didn't like about Matt Smith, he was way too emotional, and I was like, anybody who's, 1,000 years old, I just don't think is going to be such a sappy, mushy pushover. It was a huge problem I had with Matt Smith being the Doctor. It's because he was just so really emotional, and it was kind of a turnoff for me during his seasons. I do like Capaldi, even though there's not very much to say about him. He hasn't been in too many episodes yet, but I'm very looking forward to see how he does with Series 9. And I also heard that this will be Clara's last season, which makes me extremely happy, but we'll get back to that. Next, we're going to talk about Christopher Eccleston. I did start watching during his season, but I didn't really, care for him too much. I also thought fantastic was a really lame catchphrase, especially when you get to the later seasons. But my bigger issue is that he did not return for the 50th anniversary special. I do understand he didn't have a good time shooting the show and he didn't approve of how the producers behaved and all that. But I think just for one episode, I feel like a show with a legacy like Doctor Who, you kind of owe it to the series itself as opposed to the producers. I don't think it should have been such a personal thing. I think he should have returned to do it for the fans. It's just one of those things. You return for those roles that are so important, and the Doctor is a bigger role than Christopher. Another huge problem that I had with Christopher Eccleston is that you don't really get to know much about the Doctor himself, except for the introduction of the Dalek. You don't get too much Doctor history. That season really belonged to Rose, and it became, the Rose Show, which is fine. It set Rose up as a very important character in the new series. I really enjoyed Rose better with David Tennant as opposed to Christopher Eccleston. They had more chemistry, and again, it wasn't so much about him just chasing after her all the time. They really had their own thing, and they were going off on adventures, and you really got to see her experiencing so much because she was with the Doctor as opposed to the Doctor experiencing things because he was with her. David Tennant is probably my favorite of the Doctors, even though I think Capaldi will become my favorite once he has more episodes, we get to know him a little bit more. Tennant was such a strong Doctor. He had the best storylines, from Blink to Silence in the Library to The Girl in the Fireplace. He had the best companions. I loved Martha Jones. She was actually my favorite companion. She was really her own person. And it wasn't so much her carting the Doctor off everywhere. They really had their own adventures and they were doing things together. And it wasn't just about their relationship. They were really like saving the universe together. Then when she knew it was time for her to go, she was strong enough to say, I can't do this. And she left on her own. And I respect that so much. I really liked Donna. I'm a big fan of Katherine Tate and a big fan of the Katherine Tate show. As I said, I like all things British. I like that relationship was more of a big sister, little brother relationship. Even though he was the last of his species, he was making these huge decisions that involved entire races or entire planets, and Donna was there to reel him in and make sure he was focused on what he was actually supposed to be doing. Also, there was the one-off Christmas episode with Kylie Minogue, which is very important to me, of course, as a Minogue myself. I loved that episode, even though they killed Kylie at the end. We can forgive them for that. It was a very well-written episode, and I'm just really glad that Kylie Minogue, who I hold in such a high regard, got to be on my favorite television show, and she had a really cool character and a really great episode. Next up, we're going to talk about Matt Smith, who is my least favorite of the four. His series was all about Amy and Rory, who I actually do like, so that's the dichotomy. I don't enjoy Matt, but I loved Amy and Rory's characters, particularly Rory. Once he found a backbone towards the end of his series, his death scene was really sad. It was a really powerful episode, especially Amy's reaction to it. But Matt Smith's whole series was really about his emotional connection with these people. Even introducing Clara as the impossible girl continued that storyline with him being at the whims of his companion, and I don't care for that. For me, as far as Matt Smith's Doctor is concerned, the only saving grace that he has is River's song. I cannot stress enough how much I love River. I probably would not have made it all the way through Matt Smith's season if it wasn't for the fact that I was always waiting for River to come back. Not only is she my favorite part of the Doctor Who franchise, She's my favorite female character on television ever. I love her so much.
Edit.
So those are my thoughts on The Doctor. We're gonna have to see how Series 9 goes. It did air today, but I live in North America, so I have not seen the premiere yet. I'm definitely gonna get on top of that. If you've got a different opinion on The Doctors, and I know most of you have a different opinion on at least Matt Smith, just join the conversation here. You can comment on the video. You can also go over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/toomuchforbrunch. There will be at least 2 additional videos to go with this episode that will only be available on Facebook. You can also check us out on toomuchforbrunch.com, which is our home website. And you can follow me on Twitter at TMFB_Bailey. Don't forget to subscribe. There'll be so much more. I'll be reviewing some more of the Doctor Who episodes of Series 9 as they come up. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for watching.